Avowed is cooked when even Luke Steffens, one of the most notorious shills and fence riders in the industry, says that your game is a broken mess. It's really bad. This is a man that is gonna say positive things about a game that doesn't even launch and crashes. This is a man who rides the fence so hard the fence gets raw. It is insanity. And when he says it's a broken mess, you know it's really, really bad.
This is one of the most frustrating reviews I've made in a long time. Not because I dislike Avowed. I actually really like the game and I think it's pretty good. But rather because it's one of...
I can't look for 10 seconds into the video and you're already... The game's bad, but now I need to say something positive about it, so I'm right there on the fence. Oh my god. The spine. The mythical spine. Where is it?
One of the most broken games I've ever had the displeasure of trying to finish for a review in a long...
And now say something positive about it.
Long time, maybe ever. To put it in perspective, Avowed, by my estimation, should take you between 30 and maybe 40 hours of gameplay to finish, doing a lot of the side content stuff. I spent significantly longer than that trying to finish this game. By my account, between 12 and 15 hours extra replaying areas that I already finished, or just losing progress because of corrupted saves or busted quest lines and quest objectives that didn't trigger properly. And
by the way, this is for you. One person in the comment section that commented, well, maybe she says it's a little bit janky, but that doesn't mean it's buggy. What do you think jank stands for in gaming? It's bugs. It's bugs. Bugs.
Would soft lock you, or any other number of various issues. I also ran into an issue in later game areas where I could not enter a certain zone without the game just crashing and just breaking. I have not...
Game constantly crashes and breaks, but guys, it's not the worst game ever. It's not my worst experience. I quite liked it, actually.
Had this much trouble finishing a game due to technical issues in a very long time. And to sweeten the deal even better, as if I wasn't ticked off enough already, I'm not allowed to show you footage of a lot of these broken areas or broken quest lines or objectives because they happen in an area of the map later in the game that is specifically barred from us showing you in the review. They specifically told me I am not allowed to show you even a screenshot or any footage of that area, meaning I can't show you these broken quest lines, bugs, the terrible performance and frame drops and stutters, the fact that NPCs and companions will randomly start moving at 15 frames a second when everybody else is moving at 60 frames a second for some reason.
That is hilarious, but we already knew this. Again, there were articles written about it that Avowed is gonna go for that 30 FPS mark for cinematic experience or whatever they called it.
I can't show you any of that because they specifically banned me from showing you that. So if you want to see those clips, I guess go to my second channel, Luke Stevens Live, and on launch day, I'll show you everything. But for this review, I'm not allowed to show it to you.
Wait. So, man, you gotta respect the hustle. You gotta respect the grift here, okay? So, he already finished the game. It was barely playable. He hated it, but he's gonna still try and milk it live on stream. Do you think he's gonna also pretend that he doesn't know what's happening? Like it's his first time playing? Oh, that would be good.
So I'm a bit peeved about that, to say the very least. And if you needed the exact quote, what I was told was, quote, "You cannot show any footage beyond what has been provided as B-roll by PR of that area." So there you go. You may also notice that there's limited endgame footage that I can show you. That's also partially because that later game area I can't show you footage of, but also because the game is so broken, it has corrupted numerous of my PC save files. And in fact, I'm so confident about this, we're gonna do a live demo. You ready? Here we are in the main menu. I'm gonna hit enter. Are you ready? Enter, ready, here we go. There we go, okay, and I'm gonna hit enter to continue. Watch what happens, boop. It starts to load in. Okay, there we go. And crash. I don't know, dude. It's crazy. A lot of my saves are like this. All of a sudden, for some reason, the UE Alabama game has crashed and will close. I don't know what's happening.
UE Alabama game, that sounds funny.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I have not run into this in a long time, maybe ever. I think Callisto Protocol I had some bugs and issues with, but oh man, for a big publisher to have a game this busted for me, it's one for the diary, journal, history books. I don't even know. It's fried my brain. It's crazy. But listen, I'm going to go through what I like about the game because like I said, I think it's pretty good and I'm going to talk about that in this video. So don't think it's...
So you can't play the game. If you make a save, that's honestly almost like playing World of Warcraft in hardcore mode. You're gonna die, and you're not gonna die because of your mistakes. You're gonna die because Blizzard servers are shit at some point anyway. And he's like, yeah, this is a great thing. Just make a save, make a character, play 2 hours, save gets corrupted, can't play it, make new character. But I like the game! I like the game, he said.
It's all just like, boo-hoo, the game's broken. But I do want to start with this because this affects everything. When a game has broken quests, has soft locks, has...
And the game needs to be really amazing for him to still like it.
Crashes, when it has all these problems, it betrays the trust of the player and it breaks down this core relationship, which a lot of people take for granted, which is that if you're playing an RPG and you're given a quest objective, the player has to be able to trust that if they get stuck on something, if they can't figure out what to do next, that there is a solution, they just have to figure it out. The moment that trust breaks down and the thought, oh, the game might be broken. Oh, it might be a busted quest. I might have to reload. Once that happens, you'll start to go crazy, man. You'll start to lose your mind. And it happened all over the place in Avowed. Sometimes because I just was stuck and I needed to think outside the box because the puzzle or because this platforming area was up there and hidden in the shadows, I didn't see it and I had to climb up there to get the key to do the thing. But other times because the quest actually was broken, because I couldn't actually progress. And when you don't have access like I did to the devs to be able to say, hey, I've been stuck in this spot for like an hour, what's wrong? I was able to talk to them and they went, oh yeah, the game's broken. That quest should have cleared. That door should be unlocked. I don't know why it's not open. Go back, load back an hour, try doing this and having this conversation with this person and see if that clears it. Oh, if it...
And he's trying to tell me the game's still good. Like, I mean, there are some channels on YouTube that literally have almost transcended the concept of shilling.
Fixed it. Okay, problem solved. But you won't have that benefit. You'll just get stuck in the end of that quest line with the door closed, going crazy wondering what you did wrong when you didn't do anything wrong. And with an otherwise solid game, it can destroy and taint and poison the experience to the point where you should just wait. And that's where I'm at. I think Avowed is a pretty good game when it works, but it doesn't work right now, at least for me. And as a result, I cannot recommend it to you.
So the game's shit currently, but I believe there is a world where it's not shit and I'm having fun.
At least not until they've patched it and fixed a lot of this stuff up. There's some bugs and issues in the game that they have said they are aware of and were aware of before we started reviewing the game about 2 weeks out from its launch. One such issue was one where bounties, which are like high level combat encounters, you go, you kill the target, you collect a trophy off of their body and you bring it back almost like a severed head to gain the payout for completing the bounty. There's an issue in the game right now as I'm speaking where those bodies will despawn like 20% of the time within a few seconds. So if you kill the big baddie and then you go to kill some of the grunts.
Like, look at these character models. Motherfucker built like Shrek but minus 10. What is this?
And the rest of the combat encounter, his body will despawn.
I already saw a lot of, by the way, in-game footage and screenshots of how characters look, and it's bad. It is really bad.
Meaning you can't collect the bounty and you can't complete the bounty quest. That's a problem. That's a problem. But apparently they're aware of it and a fix is coming in the future. I don't know if that's day 1. I don't know if that's day 0 with the early access. I have no idea. So I know they're working on some fixes for some of these issues, but others, such as the most egregious soft lock that I ran into, which lost me around 4 to 5 hours of progress and gameplay time, that one, they had no idea about before the review period started. And so I'm very confident that...
And again, Avowed was pushed back. It was supposed to come out earlier. It was pushed back. Keep that in mind.
That That won't be fixed before launch.
To make it a smooth experience.
And that's one that involves a pretty significant spoiler because it happens right as, to be vague, something very significant happens that alters everything. And so I can't be that specific with it. Otherwise, I'll spoil it for you when it's a really cool moment when it works. So
I doubt that it's a cool moment. I think it's probably boring, most likely extremely anticipated if you're paying attention, and it's not that inspiring.
Again, I'm just stuck between a rock and a hard place. I can spoil the game for you, which I think you'll enjoy when it works, and show you how broken it is, or I can not show you but tell you about it and encourage you to not play the game right now. But for what it's worth, all I can say is that I think Avowed is pretty good. It's just busted, and it's busted to the point where I'm kind of frustrated that I played the game when I did. It's really, really broken, not just in terms of performance, doesn't run very well on PC or even on Xbox Series X. But just to reiterate, it's not just the broken quest lines or the crashes on PC. The quest lines also break on Xbox Series X.
It look really needs chapters because it's like, okay. Stop telling me the game doesn't work, but it's amazing. I want to actually see something tangible, you know? You already convinced me that you're gonna lie about your experience. I want to see some, actual experience, though.
And S, which I also tested the game on. I also ran into some corrupted saves on Xbox. Though, interestingly, sometimes when a save can't be loaded on PC, whether it's my high-end gaming PC or my gaming laptop, they both can't load it, but it can load on Xbox Series X through the Xbox Cloud save system, which is weird. So there's something about that save file that doesn't work on PC, but works on the Xbox version. I have no idea. It's way above my pay grade, but there's all sorts of weird things like that with this game that just frankly shouldn't be. And I am a little bedeviled.
Dude, considering even the most positive reviews where people are trying actively to sell the idea that Avowed is some magically how worth you buying $70 for a AA product, by the way. 70. I can get half a blowjob for 70. Why? And you're telling me buy Avowed? What am I? A self-torture? No.
By it because I play a lot of games and I have not had this much trouble getting to the credits in a game in a long time. Not because it was like difficult or anything. The game can be challenging if you want it to be, but because it was just busted and broken and I kept running into broken quest lines and crashes and save file corruptions that required me to load back an hour or two. It's really frustrating. But all of that said, I'm enough whining. I want to talk about the game now for what it is. So from this point on, let's say that the game is magically fixed and everything's great and wonderful and you can play it and enjoy it and not run into any of those problems. What's the game like then? Well, first things first, it's important to understand what Avowed is trying to be. It is a classic Obsidian...
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, imagine the game works and you can play it. But now I need to get you to redefine your expectations and what you expect from an actual game. Because otherwise it just doesn't work.
In RPG. That means it's a little bit tighter in scope and budget. Think of their old school fan favorite game, Fallout New Vegas. It's a tighter in scope Fallout game, but that tighter scope allows them to go deeper with the writing, with the consequence, with what the player is able to...
The fuck does tighter in scope even mean? Tighter in scope should mean it's more condensed and more everything. How are you comparing Avowed to Fallout New Vegas, the golden standard for these types of games? And you're saying, oh yeah, they're the equivalent, but you're saying it's compressed down. How does that make sense?
To do with their agency. It's really, really cool and people connect with it a lot because while it is janky, it's much more free when it comes to player choice. And that certainly is true in Avowed. I remember making a choice in a quest line roughly 5 hours into the game that I thought would probably get disregarded or forgotten about. But much to my surprise, at the very end of the game, when they're doing the slideshow showing where everybody ended up based on your choices, I actually saw a choice I had made come back very importantly to how the ending played out, which was really cool. And this is true all over the place.
Wait. So you press a dialogue button? And that dialogue button is supposed to decide the future for a character, and there's no future being decided, that nothing impactful happens, but at the end of the game, you see a PowerPoint presentation that tells you, oh, that one decision that didn't matter that you made with the character that didn't do anything. Look at this. This is what we're not gonna show you that happened. What the fuck?
Certain dialogue choices, decisions you'll make at one point, or which area you clear out, whether you clear out this cave before this thing happens, can have significant impact on how everything kind of plays out. And I love that stuff. I think it's so cool. And that's why I think a lot of RPG fans will enjoy Avowed. Again, when it works, but I'll stop. Furthermore, I was really pleasantly surprised with how easy it was to get lost exploring in this game. There's multiple levels and areas, some that I can't show you in much detail, as I alluded to earlier, but I was pleased with how many treats and treasures were crammed in every nook and cranny in these areas. Seriously, you'll be surprised at how often you turn a corner and then you see a little pathway leading up the side of a hill or up the side of a cliff. You climb your way up, you find a big spot you can jump across to a ledge, and then you find a cool weapon that you didn't even anticipate being there. That type of thing happens all the time in Avowed, and it's awesome. Your 4 companions also have their own companion quest lines, and while they're too short for my liking, I think they rush through a lot of their stories, and that's true of a lot of quest lines. I feel like they rush through a lot of them. I did really enjoy seeing all of their backgrounds and how all of it played out. They were written pretty well, and I thought it was very, very solid. But the sense of rushing also applies to other systems that feel underutilized.
Wait, there's clipping going on here, by the way. Wait, how can you say that the companion quest lines, their personal stories, were rushed, aka bad, but then you say they were really good though? Well, it's yes and no in the same sentence.
They have a camp where you're supposed to go and rest up and speak with your companions, customize your gear, upgrade it, customize your totems, which give you class benefits and perks. There's all sorts of cool stuff that you can do here, but it often feels really underutilized. You actually load into this area separately from the open world while they set up camp. And after a couple of conversations and maybe swapping some stuff in and out of your inventory,
this doesn't count, but I heard that the like 90% of the NPCs in Avowed are black because of reasons also.
You're done, and then you just load out elsewhere. I would have liked to see some cooler meta gameplay mechanic that plays.
Currently, we have not seen any gameplay. We have seen literally just running and some combat that is extremely sadly. Because I said the combat honestly could look and be the best part of Avowed, but I mean, now that we see real combat that Luke is showcasing here, this seems honestly kind of worse than Dragon Age Railguard's over-bloated HP pulls and damage numbers. Especially at the start when he's killing the dryads and everything, like, you know, here and whatnot. Everything is just kind of like, holy, why? Yeah, that is a bit sad, I guess.
Show showing where everybody ended up based on your choices. I actually was to get lost exploring in this game. There's multiple levels and areas, some that I can't show you in much detail, as I alluded to earlier, but I was pleased with how many treats and treasures were crammed in every nook and go and rest up and speak with your companions, customize your gear, upgrade it, customize your totems, which
the gear upgrades that I have seen so far and we saw previously are shit. It's literally like, oh, here's your gear upgrade. It's +1 strength. Okay? That's it? That's literally it? Yeah, the gear here is effectively Diablo 4's green arrow, go up, click it, dopamine, and hopefully you're happy.
Give you class benefits and perks. There's all sorts of cool stuff that you can do here, but
yeah, like look at this. Look at this. This is your armor. Wow. Wow, what great stats. Maximum essence, so being tanked punishes you and being agile and casting, and that's it. That's it. Very cool.
it often feels really underutilized. You actually load into this area separately from the open world while they set up camp. And after a couple of conversations and maybe swapping some stuff in and out of your inventory, you're done. And then you just load out elsewhere. I would have liked to see some cooler meta gameplay mechanic that plays into this, whether it be something like Baldur's Gate 3 and D&D with their rest mechanic, refilling magical essence, or maybe an
yeah, you fucking wish.
exhaustion meter or something like that, or even just bigger buffs and things that would benefit the party every time you go back to camp to have conversations with each other. Instead, right now, it just feels like a system that they put in because they felt like they needed a camp for people to congregate in for like NPC conversations and stuff, but it just doesn't feel really.
But the character development and quest lines are really good. Don't worry about it. They're rushed, but they're really good. Don't worry about it. Oh god, I could do such a better job shilling. By the way, I'm just saying. But Avowed did not decide to pay me. Also, I'm not saying I would take cardinal pleasures from the director that made Avowed, but my god, that woman would. I would do things with her. Okay, I'm just gonna say this out there. I'm just, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You know what? Don't pay me. Just be my wife. I can fix her.
Utilized to the fullest extent of what it could have been. On the other hand, there's other systems which I think are a little bit too big for their own good, specifically the inventory. I know some people.
This is new. Oh no. Is this it? This is the stupidest bug ever. Watch.
Systems which I think are a little bit too big.
Oh no, it's
for their own good.
Is it? No, it's hard to tell.
Applies to the fullest.
I have seen this failure in a lot of old games.
Extent of what it could have
Watch.
been. On the other hand.
Okay, so he starts the fire thing, right? He's not moving.
And there's other.
And now he starts to move forward. I can't tell if the fire is now spewing in his in the backwards direction.
Systems which
it kind of looks like it.
Which I think are a little bit.
Yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem that happens in a lot of old games, but you cast something like this, you start to go in the wrong direction and it starts spitting your way because it's poorly coded.
Big for their own good, specifically the inventory. I know some people love inventory management in games like this. They love sifting through hundreds of items and seeing what they've got, breaking things down for new crafting materials that they then use to upgrade other weapons or.
I love how you can get some random shit on your face and it's supposed to be like a godly gift or whatever. That's so unique. And I love spending all that time making a character, knowing that I'm not going to see shit of him, because I'm going to have some fungus growing on my face. Jesus Christ, what is this, Asmongold?
Or armor pieces, or to craft something to sell to a vendor. I get it. I know some people love this stuff, but it drives me crazy. This is just a matter of personal preference, but when I'm playing a narrative RPG, I like focusing on that. I don't like role-playing as a garbage collector, or at the very least, I appreciate it if you give me the option to not have to roleplay as a garbage collector. Again, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did this really well, where if you wanted to just go collect all of the armor off of everybody's bodies and then sell that to somebody else, you could do that. Or if you wanted to play just as an herbalist, you could do that. If you wanted to go and play through with just a really simple mercenary perspective where you have your armor and your weapons and everything, but for the most part, you're just going, you kill people, you take their money and their food and maybe some valuable trinkets off their bodies, and then you sell those. I just want the agency to make that choice so I don't have to play as Oscar the Grouch in a dumpster if I don't have to. Especially because in Avowed, the UI can be a lot and it's just not particularly intuitive. It's not really fun to manage. It's just a lot of busy work. And while inventory management was never forced upon me too much because inventory carry weight was always very generous, I still found myself rolling my eyes every time I had to open my inventory and look for something, which in my opinion is never a good sign. The other thing I want to mention is the announcement trailer for Avowed. I thought that this was really, really cool when they first showed it years ago.
Hey, here's my review of the game. The announcement trailer is really good for the game. What? I can't.
Because it set the tone for this really dark and gritty fantasy game. A lot of people were like, oh, is this like Obsidian's Elder Scrolls game? It's going to be the Fallout New Vegas to Elder Scrolls. You know, like that's basically...
Obsidian is so cooked. Obsidian is just dead. Okay, there's no point. The Outer Worlds is also going to be shit.
What they're going to try to do. And I was really excited when I saw this trailer. But what we got instead was like if you went into a Mario level and took a bunch of LSD, because it's nothing but colorful shrooms and purples and pinks and greens. I just really dislike the art direction in the current version of the game. I love this vibe. I wanted this game, but instead what we got was like Strawberry Shortcake smokes something with Donkey Kong while over at Princess Peach's house in the Mushroom Kingdom when Mario shows up and starts screaming at them. I don't understand why they pivoted so hard, because I loved this original vibe.
Because the art director is gay, an anti-Trump and woke and a retard in general. That's the solution to that one.
But it is
also again, I'm really not hearing anything Avowed good, but boys, I'm gonna trust Luke. Avowed's great. You know, he said that it's a really great game and it works. Haven't seen any of the greatness, have not seen any of the anything, but it's great. I trust him.
It is what it is. I mean, it's whatever. I hope you like mushrooms. There's a lot of them. Speaking of mushrooms, you will play as somebody who has been God touched. And to put it simply, this is pretty core to the game's narrative, so I won't go into too much detail, but you do have the option of turning this on or off. But NPCs will act as if you have it, even if it's not visible to the player. I understand they wanted to have some visual...
Oh, just for clarification, I'm doing that because those characters are black, not because they're women. Wait. I'm a black woman myself, so it's fine, okay? Was born and raised black. Was born and raised a woman. Bigots.
Representation of having been touched by a god that is central to the plot of the game. But it just, I mean, the whole time I looked at it and was hearing people talk about it.
There's nothing, you're saying nothing positive about this.
It just made me think that I looked like a clicker from The Last of Us. And it's really hard to think like, oh, you're blessed when you look like a clicker from The Last of Us. I'm sorry. And I know I could turn this off, but all of the NPCs still mention it and still talk about it. So I left it turned on. Again, again with the art director.
The hell was this? Yo! What the hell is going on here? Wow. That is impressive. I'm gonna take a screenshot of it. Wait 1 second. Daddy needs his thumbnail, okay? There we go. There we go. Oh, it's open to my porn folder. Thankfully, you can't see that, but that's okay. That is okay. Avowed. 10 out of 10. Yeah, good thing you can't see anything, okay?
Turned on. Again, again with the art direction.
Now, I'm not saying my porn folder is not extremely impressive. It is. You would be astonished. But good thing you can't see anything anyway.
And the visuals of this game. I don't know what they're doing, but it's like they're trying to make so much of this game look as unappealing as possible, and it's weird. It's just weird. But who knows? Maybe some other people really love the mushroom vibe of the game. I don't know. What I do know is that I had fun while playing Avowed. I think the combat is actually much more robust than I was anticipating, and with the varied styles available to the player, whether you're looking to swing a sword or a great hammer or use magic and fire rifles and pistols, there's many options for the player to choose from. I will say the game is very dependent on gear.
I can't. It's just,
and they reiterate that many times through the automatic tutorials and like recommended tips that pop up on screen constantly. For the first 10 hours, they'll constantly be reminding you to go back to your camp and upgrade your gear, even though, in my opinion, you probably don't really need to do that on normal difficulty because you're going to get so much better gear as you play through the game. You know, it's kind of like, this is a deep cut, it's kind of like when you play Monster Hunter. Think of Monster Hunter World. You get all the armor spheres and stuff to upgrade your armor, but until you get to master rank missions and monsters, you just don't need to do that. Like, it's a waste of the armor spheres because you're just going to get better armor that you craft in 10 minutes anyways. So don't bother upgrading the low gear stuff. Wait until you have the good stuff and then upgrade that. That's basically what's going on here. I just don't know why they have this entire like gameplay loop tied around upgrading armor when you just get better armor by looking over there or by completing this bounty quest and taking it off the guy. Like, I never found myself, for better or worse, wishing that I had upgraded my armor because I always had good enough armor to get through encounters. Speaking of encounters, combat-wise, it's typically just about fighting hordes of enemies. They'll do occasional boss fights, which are actually pretty fun, especially early in the game. There's some pretty varied encounters, but as the game drags on, you'll start to notice that there's less enemy variety than you might have expected, and often the combat system is much more about crowd control and using different abilities from your companions to synergize with yours so that you can take out groups of enemies at once before taking on the big guy. I was also kind of frustrated that towards the end of the game, they do introduce something cool, which is a sort of wizardy class character in some of these horde fights, which will heal the big boss guy. So you might have 5 grunts, 1 magic healer that heals the one big brute, which is a pretty simple archetype to have for a combat encounter, but they just kept reusing it over and over and over again. And it didn't feel that challenging or cool or complex because you just run.
Yep, can't imagine that though. Anyway, I feel done because they're like, what? Everything is bad. It's just anyway, that was Luke Steffens, 10 out of 10. Bye.